This entire video will be voiced over because while I was recording, for some reason, my mic just wasn't connected in OBS. I feel like every time I record, something has to go wrong, but a voiceover should be fine. My mic really said, I just don't feel like connecting today. This is why you should always test your recordings before you decide to record an entire video. I triple dog dare you to make a series where you build every character. So here we are. Will this be a complete waste of my resin and Mora? Yes. Yes, of course. But will this help me with future randomized challenges? Hopefully, because I'm sick of getting level 20 and 50 characters in those. Besides, it gives me more video ideas, so let's do this. Here are the rules for this long-term series that I'll be doing. 1. Characters must be leveled to 80, or 70, but in most cases it will be level 80. 2. They must have their own weapon. This does not mean their signature. It just means that they shouldn't be sharing a weapon with anyone else. Unless I literally run out of weapons, then yeah, there's not much I can do about that until I get more. 3. Characters must have their own artifact sets. It's a personal pet peeve of mine when I need to borrow artifacts from another character to temporarily put onto someone else. I prefer for my characters to have their own sets to themselves, so that's what we'll do. Artifacts do not need to be perfect. They just need to be good enough and suffice for a while since, well, it can literally take months to roll perfect artifacts considering everything is RNG. Character talents will only be leveled to what's necessary and recommended. For example, if a character really doesn't need their normal attacks leveled, then I won't be bothering with that since I'm already going to be using a lot of Mora and resources. There will be no more level 20 characters on this account. This is gonna go well. So in my last video, I pulled on Sheilanin and Shiori's banners and ended up getting C6 Candace. Candace is a character I've wanted to build ever since she came out, but I'm a professional procrastinator and I don't know when to stop pulling for characters, so I never got around to actually building her. Therefore, I think it's only natural that she should be the first character that we focus on. For Candace, her C6 is probably her best constellation as it provides a bit of extra hydro damage and a small AoE equal to 15% of her max HP when characters deal elemental damage with their normal attacks under the effects of her ult. Considering her ult is the best part of her kit, we focused mainly on HP percent and energy recharge with some crit. I'ma keep it so real. I don't know if that AoE crits or not, but it never said that it didn't crit, so I'm assuming that it can crit. You know, I find it funny that the event currently is giving us a free Candace, as I just so happen to be building her at this time. Funny coincidence. The first thing I decided to do was to get her to level 80, so I did some boss runs over the course of a couple of days because I ran out of voice crack. Because I ran out of resin and had 0 fragile resin. Because I was building Sheilanin and Shiori before this video. Then once I finished fighting her boss, I realized I had no level up books. I really need to take a few dedicated days to just farm these level up book ley lines. So I went around doing that for a while. And finally was able to get her up to level 77. You're actually fuck. Out of desperation, I did a couple of small quests and bought the last remaining books of the teapot before the reset happened, and was able to get her to level 80, finally. Next, I temporarily gave her Kachina's Favonius Lance because I couldn't level up the other one I had. Don't worry, this was just for the showcase for the video. I'm going to work on leveling the other one for her since part of this challenge is, you know, having every character to have their own equipment to themselves. This is just for the sake of not having this video delayed even more. Next up, I checked her talents and leveled them accordingly, mostly focusing on her burst and then her skill. Now onto her artifacts. The most recommended sets for her seem to be 4-piece Emblem and 4-piece Noblesse. However, the 4-piece Noblesse wouldn't have been too beneficial for my Candace, given the teams I actually wanted to try her in. Nilou Bloom and the Mualani team, and neither of those teams require the attack bonus given from the set. So we just ended up going with 4-piece Emblem instead. I hate defense rolling when I don't need it. All in all, the artifacts didn't roll too badly. They could use some improvements in the future, but they were good enough for now to be satisfactory. I would have liked to have some more HP on her since it didn't feel like 30k was quite enough, but who knows. Maybe I'll level her to 90 in the future for some extra HP if I enjoy using her enough to. Now, onto the team comps that I'll be testing her in. First, we're going to be doing the Mualani ones. I decided to just experiment with a few different variations of Mualani teams to see which ones would perform better and which one would feel better to use. The first comp I tested was Mualani, Candace, Xiangling, and Xilonin. Between Candace and Xiangling both using Fav weapons, the energy recharge wasn't too bad, and Candace's burst only costing 60 energy was definitely very nice. This team was the best performing out of the other Mualani comps that I tested since, well, I mean, Vaporize is just a really strong reaction, plus the buff of Xilonin and the buff of Candace was super good as well. Mualani's highest damage reached was 184k on her skill and 300k on her burst. This comp definitely defeated the boss the quickest, although I still wasn't able to one rotation it sadly with any of the comps, spoiler alert. The second comp I tested was Mualani, Candace, Kazuha, and Xilonin. This didn't perform the best out of the ones I tried her on, but it also wasn't the weakest. Mualani still did decent numbers, her highest on her burst being 206k, and on her skill being 148k. The next one I ended up trying out was with Farina instead of Kazuha or Xiangling. This was the weakest one, with Mualani's skill only reaching 118k and her burst 154k. I much rather prefer the Xiangling version. I don't know, the Xiangling one just felt more fun than the other two, plus more damage. I like seeing big numbers. I like big damage. Next up is the Nilou comp. I used Nilou, Candace, Nahida, and Baizhu for this, and honestly, y'all, I don't know why I used Baizhu instead of Yao Yao. I'm pretty sure Yao Yao would have been much better given that her elemental burst provides lots of Denjo application, and with Candace converting her normal attacks to Hydro, it could likely produce more bountiful cores than when I kept switching to Nilou for that. I actually ended up trying the version with Yao Yao the day after recording this, and it definitely felt better to play. At least for me, it did. My Baizhu also isn't exactly fully maxed out. He's level 70, okay, we don't talk about it. Regardless of that, I ended up actually enjoying the Nilou Bloom over the Mualani one, and in the future, I may continue to use Candace for Nilou Bloom teams, just for fun. Although Candace isn't the strongest pick for probably any of the teams that I tested her out in. They were still fun to play, and I mean, the teams didn't like suffer because I didn't choose a stronger character than Candace. I think she works perfectly fine in these teams. Like, you know, Mualani still ended up doing a 300k on her burst with Candace there, so, you know, like, that's not horrible. At least for my account, it's not horrible, okay? If you want an excuse to use Candace somewhere, then I would definitely recommend giving these teams a try and seeing how you like them. I am pretty sure that Candace can also work with Yoimiya and Sino. She can also work with Ayato. I would say pretty much any character whose normal attacks can be converted into an elemental infusion and that she can buff and that it won't overwrite or anything. I would say that she can probably be pretty useful there, and you can just test out those teams and see how you like them. I've heard that she is also pretty decent in Electro Charged, although I haven't tried Electro Charged Candace for myself, but I might just, you know, keep sticking her with my Nilou team. As you can see on the screen, I do have her with Yao Yao in the team this time, and this team was pretty fun to play. Now, before I wrap up the video, let's do a quick little stat check. So in this team, she has 33k HP given the Hydro Resonance provided with 2 Hydro characters in the party. Can we just ignore her defense? Okay, this is out of my control. I didn't ask for this. 85 Elemental Mastery. She could probably use more EM. I don't know how important EM is on her, but I mean, yeah, the team still did fine anyways. Next, her crit ratios are kind of horrendous, but I mean, I wasn't really focusing too much on the crit anyways. And she has 167% energy recharge. She actually had more energy recharge in the footage that I showed for the showcasing, but since then I've switched her back to the level 20 Felonious Lance, and I will be leveling that up, I believe today, because as of doing this voiceover, it's actually Saturday. So yeah, these are available today, so I will be leveling this today, and I'll continue to work on that so I can have it leveled for her. Also, having more crit on her would be nice, since Fav does, you know, the passive for Fav, you kind of need crit to get those extra particles, but it's fine. We'll work on that. She is currently running the 2-piece, oh my god, not the 2-piece, the 4-piece emblem set, C6 Candace, and her talents are 3, 10, and 10. And that's the video. I'm happy that I finally got around to building Candace, since I love her character design and her personality and her voice acting. She may not be the strongest in the game, but I did have fun testing her with some new teams. Let me know in the comments who you'd like to see me build next on the channel. I was thinking about doing Kujo Sara, since I've been enjoying playing Raiden Overload teams with Chevrus lately, or perhaps Toma for some Virgin or something. I don't know. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for future content. Bye bye!